Paul Butler, one of the client partners at New Leaf Training and Development, and I'm joined today by Ken Strickland, who is the city manager for the city of Santa Clarita, which is where New Leaf Training and Development is headquartered and has been since day one in February 2006. Hey, Ken, the purpose of these Take Fives is to give people some practical help, provide some hope, and even sprinkle a little bit of humor. So I've just got that one question, which I'd love you to run with for about 4 minutes or so, because we do call them Take Five for a reason. So here's the question. What would you say, Ken, that you're learning personally, professionally, even as a city during these rather challenging days? And if you would, tell us a little bit more about your work, what you do, and who you serve. So over to you, Ken, and I'll wrap it up when you're done.
All right. Well, thank you, Paul. It's a pleasure to be here and spend a few minutes with you. I'd say the most obvious thing that I'm learning personally is how to do Zoom calls, conference calls, and presentations, even when I'm driving in my car. So it's it's a little bit different. And the most challenging part is when I'm doing Zoom calls to 300 or 400 of my employees, and it's an empty environment. So every time I tell a joke, there's no response. So you never know whether you're actually being humorous or not. But, generally speaking, I would say that, it's definitely been an interesting time. I think what I'm learning both, personally and professionally is that, life changes. I think as humans, we get into the normalcy of everyday routines. But the reality is life does change. And sometimes it's positive, sometimes it's negative. But, ultimately how we respond to that change determines who we are. Personally, as I get up every day, I'm learning how to take advantage of the opportunities as my role as a father. I have four children who are obviously going through a lot of change. They're young. They haven't had a lot of experience with change. So, getting up and trying to teach them how life really is and the fact that it's unpredictable. And that regardless of that unpredictability, that we have to stay focused on the positive things and make adjustments to keep growing as individuals. From going from school and being with their friends and having teachers to, staying at home, being isolated and doing online learning. It's tough. It's different. It's a change, but we got to figure out how do you still take advantage of that and grow as individuals. And, the hardest part for them is, quite frankly, has been the social part of it and not having the normal social interactions. But again, finding alternative ways to make sure that, we're not just isolating in a closet and not, putting our heads in the sand, if you will, but finding different ways to live life. The same thing goes, as being a city manager, to wake up and realize, not or focus on the negative stuff, but to realize that I have a rare position that really enables me to affect the lives of over 225,000 people. And that's a rare opportunity, in the face of all the restrictions and people telling you what you can't do and what you have to go do. Instead, we want to focus our energies into creating and inspiring people to focus on what you can do. I mean, we had a whole media campaign here that took the opposite approach, which was the things you can do in Santa Clarita, right now. And I think that's something that people need. Is that light of hope, that little bit of that silver lining, if you will. And we have an opportunity and a position to do that. There's also so many ways, as I was talking about, in terms of things you can do to remain safe, healthy, and active. And, we took the approach that, we have an opportunity to not only focus on keeping, people medically healthy, but also the social and emotional, physical well-being of individuals. So the whole person. So I think we've really tried to be that ray of hope, if you will, that sense of normalcy, the opportunities to do what you can do. And that really has been an opportunity for us. The other thing is, like I've said, we got back to work really early in the pandemic. A lot of cities have not. We've changed a lot of our platforms. We've implemented technologies on a very quick basis. We have, tons and tons of virtual programs that are out there. And, the interesting thing is you never know how the populace is going to kind of respond to that. But it really is amazing between, drive-through haunted houses and drive-through Santa Claus type things and virtual library programs. We are really seeing a huge response from the community, which shows you that there's a huge demand out there for people to have some normalcy in their lives. So, finally, as an organization, as I kind of just talked about, to show up and adapt. Part of it is showing up, is getting here, being present and facing head on the challenges, and then figuring out, how do we change our platforms? How do we change our service delivery methods so that we can still reach the people that need to be reached? One of the proudest things that, one of the things I'm most proud about is that, we put together, with all the schools being closed down, we saw there was a huge need with different parts of the community who simply didn't have internet access. or families who couldn't help their kids with the tutoring or, the schoolwork that they needed help with. So, we adapted and we opened up learning hubs. So we have learning hubs where we provide opportunities for different families to bring their kids in and not fall behind and have those resources, which is, again, nothing, that's not something we've ever done or been in the business of having to do, but we saw the need and as an organization adapted to do it. So we've taken on, I think, a lot of responsibility and taken advantage of that change to challenge each other, to look at work from a different perspective, out of a different lens, and really see ourselves as being blessed of being in a position that we can have such an amazing effect on the community and try to continue to provide a high quality community, even in the face of a pandemic. So I think those are some of the key aspects that I wanted to share today.
Well, Ken, on behalf of everyone who watches these, thanks for your insights and thank you for the great work you do for the residents of the city of Santa Clarita. And on a personal level, as you know, I've shared this with you a number of times, you've got an absolutely delighted customer here, having raised our family here and obviously starting and growing our business here. So can I offer you a virtual high five?
Absolutely. All right.